I'll share with you the screen all over again. So you'll see what exactly happens during karyotyping. Most of you are already aware of it, but still we'll have a little this thing on it. So this particular video has been given by a particular Italian lab. So what happens is this is the process of cell division that usually takes place. This is the DNA strands that are there, as you can see here. That as you can see here, the DNA strands are having a particular kind of geometry, and this kind of interaction, as you can see, there is a lock and key kind of pattern. In one side this is green, and the green is exactly the accommodating the yellow kind of strip. So there is a kind of like lock and key interaction between the strands, and which are very important in genomics. And as you know, these are different chemical entities, so we will come to those things a little later. Now what happens is during karyotyping, the WBCs are separated. So this is a regular phlebotomist who takes a particular kind of sample. This is a application in prenatal diagnosis. So this was seen. Now this is a condition where many of you know this is a normal phlebotomy where we are doing, but in the next here in the next step it is a bit different. Now this is a case of prenatal diagnostics usage, where we shall call it aspiration of amniotic fluid. So as you know already, this is amniocentesis, where a patient is under this thing only, a local only. The sample will be taken, and in the amnion, so what happens is inside the as many of you know, but I would also like, this is the karyotype. So what happens is in the fluid there are the tissue that has been come from the embryo, developing embryo. Then we will do a little treatment and then put it under a microscope. So what happens is the treatment, many a times these are several things, mitomycin and colchicine, which are alkaloids, which initiate a particular kind of cell division in the tissue, and subsequently all the chromosomes are visible. Now this is the chromosome under a screen. So it was there in the microscope, then we have put it in the screen, and in the screen we can able to identify which kind of there are different programs. So here you see, so this is the microscope. Many of you have handled this in your labs and your clinics. So but still, so what happens is it's a kind of microscope which will give you a direct observe of the karyotype. Previously there was a time when manual photographs of the karyotype was been taken and then made into a print, and then the clinician had to cut on the film, and then not the film, the photograph, and then put it into a particular pattern, so that they can identify whether there has been some kind of abrasions, deletions, insertions, then many other things. So this time this has been a little more this thing with the technology. So then what happens is they can able to classify the various kinds of alterations according to their training and things. So there are some groups of alterations that can be identified, numerical alterations. In some cases what happens is some or the other mutations may be, or some or the other chromosomes may be lost, or sometimes some gain of chromosomes. So any such alteration is very much detrimental to a particular tissue, a particular embryo. So all such kinds of abnormalities were been identified. As you can see here, 46 chromosomes, and according to their bending patterns, the bending patterns are also very important for those who are introductory, but those who are already trained, they already know that this kind of banding pattern indicates the sites of the genes. The darker sites are those which are still in the histone bound form, or shall I say the not opened, but those sites which are opened, these are the sites where histones are not bound, and therefore it is comparatively lighter. And this kind of pattern helps us to identify which kind of chromosomes are there and whether every chromosome is okay, intact or not. So this is usually done to identify the some genetic diseases which are responsible for many kind. For example, trisomy in chromosome number 22, then abnormality in X and Y chromosome. These are the things that are usually done to identify what may have gone wrong in a particular. So here you see there are two X's, there is no Y. So there are different these things, as you know. Here also there are abnormalities. For example, Down syndrome in a particular kind of trisomy is there, chromosome number 21, which should be usually 2, but in these cases Down syndrome is a mental and as well as physical deformity, where if there is a particular 3 sets of chromosome, it is identified that it is a Down syndrome. Then this is the case of a Down syndrome. So after the identification, the reports should be sent. Now there is one more Klinefelter syndrome, very classical case, where testicular failure and abnormality in the secondary as well as primary sexual characters. So then Turner syndrome, these are the common things, as you know, absence of X chromosomes. So this is how we had our introduction to genomics in like 50 years back. Then there are some cases of structural alterations in order to see if there has been some kind of transitions, and then translocations, duplications, and all such things. So there are plenty of genetic abnormalities that can be identified through this macro level, we shall say, not a genomic level, but a macro level study. Then translocations, inversions, and all such kind of mutations can be identified. Many a times this can be a case of a particular kind of region. There has been several cases of some autoimmune diseases where this kind of abnormalities has been seen related to translocation of particular genes, which can also be identified. Then there has been some cases of this kind of reproductive failures which are related to abnormalities in the chromosomes, which are identified through this kind of genetic testing. So pre-implantation genetic diagnosis is also done, where before implantation the genotyping and karyotyping of this thing can be done, what we call the sperms and the egg. Then subsequently the best sperm and best egg can be put into a particular fertilization that you can see, micro-injection. Everyone is aware of it. So in micro-injection we can do an in vitro kind of fertilization, where we can select a particular class of this thing, what we call as gametes, and then put on replication and put in a media, so that a particular kind of blastocyst is formed, and subsequently the blastocyst is channeled into the mother by after particular hormonal treatment. Then it will reimplanted in the tube, and subsequently the final this thing can be done. Successful pregnancy can be expected. So there are several other things. There are polymorphisms which can also be identified through some kind of genetic testing, which is related to karyotyping, not classically genomics. So we'll go to that how classical genomics can help. So going back to this thing, slowly we'll one by one. So okay, so one more thing that I wanted to share with you is a little the very simple data set. So I'm sharing with you a John Hopkins data set of a very simple cancer data